money making activities, and marketing versus creation. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dear madam and dear sir. Welcome to episode number 48 of the Subscribe Me show from subscribeme.fm. Alright, just kidding. Hey, welcome. This is Ravi Jayagopal. This is the podcast to listen to for learning about how to create membership sites and online courses, making, marketing, and monetizing digital content, the world of WordPress, and tools, techniques, and tips that you can use to create a long-term profitable online business. And yes, I just trolled my own Indian accent. My name is Ravi Jayagopal, and I'm the co-founder and co-developer of digitalaccesspass.com, arguably the best membership plugin for WordPress, fondly known as DApp. And you can fondly call me Man of MMA, as in Mama. Yeah, but don't call me Mama. So, Man of MMA, and I say MMA for not one, not two, okay, really just two reasons. The second one is the topic of this podcast, MMA as in money-making activities, which I'll get to in a second. But the first reason is actually related to mixed martial arts. And what's cool is that one of UFC's superstars, who recently retired, Miesha Cupcake Tate. How crazy is it to be a UFC fighter, bashing people's heads and faces in and kicking them in the gut and stuff, and have a nickname like Cupcake? So, Miesha Cupcake Tate is an American mixed martial artist who competed in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC, and is a former UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. And why is that cool? Because she is using my podcast player, coolcastplayer.com, on her website for her podcast. And she has customized the colors to be like a deep purple. Her site itself looks generally absolutely stunning with great design, great colors, and of course, now an equally stunningly beautiful podcast player that matches her website's color scheme. So check out what her player looks like at coolcastplayer.com. And while you're there, you too can have what she has. And by that, I mean get your own copy of the prettiest podcast player on the planet. Now, let's get into the main reason for using the letters MMA, which stands for, according to me, money-making activities.
SubscribeMe.fm.
So if you listen to episode number 4, titled Too Much Content, Too Little Revenue, which you can listen to by going to subscribeme.fm. So in that episode, I talked about a listener, Michael, who at the time had been super successful at creating lots of content. He had millions of downloads of his podcast and his YouTube videos, but he had not had much success at monetizing any of that work, 9 years of hard work. So imagine that, 9 years of putting out great content, more than 1,000 episodes published of his podcast and YouTube videos, millions of downloads and views, yet he was making almost nothing from all that work, practically zero. And the key thing here is he actually did want to make money. So I'm not saying that you also need to make money or have the intention to make money from your passion projects, but I guess that's what it comes down to. Is your podcast, your website, your product, your service, is it just a passion project for you? Is it just a hobby? Is it just a pastime? Then I'll tell you right now that this podcast is probably not a good fit for you, because the title of this podcast itself is Making, Marketing, and Monetizing Online Digital Content with Membership Sites, Online Courses, and Subscriptions. So it's about building a long-term profitable online business. It is not about how to create a awesome hobby. Now you can start off by creating it as a hobby, and then, sometimes hobbies go too far when you get extremely passionate about it. And then you get to the point of thinking, I'm putting in so much time, so much effort, taking time away from my family, from, my health, working out. I'm spending so much time losing sleep and cutting down on all this stuff. Where is it really going? So if you get to that point, then this is the podcast for you. The biggest mistake a lot of people make is that they spin their wheels on activities that they think is helping them move their business forward. Like, in the name of engaging, quote unquote, engaging and quote unquote, communicating with their audience, they will endlessly spend time on Facebook, posting junk question after junk question on social, asking meaningless questions, inviting meaningless responses, and unproductive banter. So just because you got 100 likes on your post doesn't mean those people will become your customers. Just because you got 100 downloads of your podcast doesn't mean you have an engaged audience. It's a great start, but don't mistake that for having an engaged audience who follows and hangs on to every word you say. Just because you got 100 clicks on your Twitter link doesn't mean you have active followers. I have tested it myself. A lot of times, a lot of it is just bots. And bots created by people which auto-follow, auto-click, auto-like, and auto-mentions. There's a lot of bot tools out there for Twitter. Activity doesn't mean engagement. Facebook replies don't mean interest in your products. Likes don't mean fans. So going back to Michael from earlier, hundreds or thousands of hours of content, what did it lead to? A lot of vanity metrics, but no tangible results in terms of it doing anything for his goals, for his business. He didn't even have a sign-up form to build a list, even after having his website for over 5 to 6 years. And I gave Michael some really good tips. I said, one of the first things you have to do is to create a sign-up form on your website. And told him, stop creating content in 15 different niches and take one of your, thousands of hours of content, something really good, and create a nice little free product out of it, package it nicely, and offer it as a lead magnet and start building a list right away. Now, it would have taken him probably 3 hours, I'm guessing, at worst, right, to put all of this together. He was already doing all his website work. He knew how to create audio, video. He had created a couple of PayPal buttons for his students. All he had to do was just stop creating new content for 3 hours and then sit back, slow down, and start thinking about the big picture, what he's really doing and where he really wants to go. And I followed up with him a couple of times on Facebook. And after like 6 months once, and after like a year, but by then he said he had some personal issues, and I wouldn't get into that. But a year later, he had not done anything. He had not even implemented a sign-up form. He had not focused in on the content, what he's going to do, and instead of just endlessly creating content, I told him, categorize the content, put it all together, group the content into like main topics, and try to figure out if you can create an online course from it and stuff. I'd given a lot of ideas. Zero. He had done zero work. He had just gone on to create more episodes. So sometimes people just don't want to do it, right? And that's what this episode is about. So imagine you're going on vacation to Paris. Now, if you're like most people, you probably first do some research on when is the best time to visit Paris. And then, obviously, you have to have vacation time around the same time. You should at least be able to take vacation around the same time. Then you buy a flight ticket to Paris because you want to lock in your trip first. And then you research, okay, now that if you decide, okay, am I going for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks? Then, now that you have an exact schedule, then you research the best spots to see. Then you narrow it down to a list. Then you figure out, which central location in Paris, if I stayed, would be the best to, visit all these spots. Then once you know where you're going to be in Paris, then you research a hotel online and you try to get a great deal for a hotel in that city. That's how you would plan everything, right? In an organized, sequential manner. Instead, imagine if you just woke up one day and you decided that you're going to go on vacation and you don't know where you're going, when you're going, but you simply call a travel agent. I don't know if those guys, travel agents even exist, but let's just go with that for now. So, and you tell this person you want to buy a ticket, plane ticket, and they ask you where you'll be flying to. And you say, well, I have no idea, but I want to buy a ticket anyway. How ridiculous that sounds. That's how most people treat their work and even their life. They really have no idea where they want to go most of the time, but they know that they want to go somewhere. And instead of slowing down and putting some thought into it, spending a few days just thinking, it's so hard to find time to think these days. People are bombarded with ads and they're listening to the radio and podcasts and watching television and shows and HBO and Showtime. You know why Archimedes, the guy who, after whom the Archimedes principle is named, you know why he got his unbelievable idea when he was taking a bath? Yep, that's why a lot of people get their best ideas in the shower, because guess what? It's quiet in there, unless you're one of those gadget freaks who have installed some Bluetooth speaker in your bathtub as well. But for the most part, shower is a time when there is a kind of rhythm to the flowing of water, and it's quiet and you're thinking. And that's why you got to take some time to just think. And a lot of people don't want to do this. That's why they would rather publish their 50th podcast episode than figure out how to promote their last 49. They would rather work on getting their next guest than figure out how to get help from their past guests to promote their existing shows. A lot of people would rather look for ideas for the next blog post rather than figuring out how to promote all the stuff they've already written. So they'd rather look for something new and shiny rather than promote what they have already launched. It doesn't have to be a paid product, but whatever it is, the content you've already created, it needs promotion. People are not going to find it by themselves. So for most people, it's easier to just go and write a new Kindle book than it is to go and figure out for 3 months how to promote the last one you wrote. And that's why they would rather do research on what new content they can create for their members rather than figure out how to get their existing members to engage better with their existing content. Find out if they're even consuming the existing modules. Ask for feedback on how they find the course content. Is there anything that's stopping them from completing the course? Guess what? Most people don't complete online courses. Most people don't consume the stuff they buy online. That's just reality. Why are they not participating in your forums? Why are they not asking you questions? Why are they not responding to your emails? Why are they not engaging with your content and leaving comments on posts or engaging with other members? Why are they not attending your weekly free webinars for members? Why are they not making progress? Are they able to get the results that you promised them? If not, why? So there are so many questions you could be asking instead of saying, how can I create more content? No, more content is not always the answer. Most people, including myself at times, and even I have had to consciously work on this, most people are afraid to stop, think, and ask themselves the tough questions because it is scary. Sometimes you just don't want to know the answer. You probably know the answer and you don't want to think about it. You don't want to hear it. You just want to, it's just easy to sometimes to pretend that you're doing great. You just continue to do what you're doing. And then you end up getting frustrated when you're not getting the results you want. So as you might have heard the cliche, it was Albert Einstein who said that the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same things over and over again and expect different results. So today, after you've heard this episode, whenever you get back to your computer, close all browser windows. Close Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, your DApp admin page, Skype, Slack, everything. Just for 10 minutes, okay? Open up Notepad++. That's the Windows program I use to type long-form notes. So open whatever text editor on whatever operating system you're using and write down the following headline. My top 5 money-making activities. Okay, so write down my top 5 money-making activities. And below that, start typing all of the activities you do on a daily basis. So for a lot of people, it might look something like this. Number 1, emails. Number 2, support. Number 3, Facebook. Number 4, Twitter. Number 5, podcast. Number 6, blog. So whatever it is for you, write down everything that comes to your mind. Don't hold back. Then take a few minutes and just review everything on that list. Be sure to save it, of course. And when you find something that you can label as a money-making activity, just type MMA in brackets at the end of that line, okay? And move it to the top of that list. So let's take the example list I gave you. Answering emails? Yes, absolutely necessary, especially when it's coming from your current members or buyers, or if it's pre-sales questions, or if you're doing email support. So we'll keep that in there, okay? Only emails pertaining to your existing members and pre-sales questions. Now, that is normally not a money-making activity, but you can call it a money-keeping activity. Because if you don't answer your members' queries, they will cancel and leave. And if you don't answer your pre-sales questions, you will lose that sale. So we'll make an exception for answering mission-critical emails and support questions. Other than that, creating a new podcast episode? Nope, it's not a money-making activity. Writing a new blog post? Nope, not a MMA. Posting on Facebook? Pretending like it's about customer engagement? Nope, it's not a MMA. So what are some money-making activities? That's what we'll talk about in the next episode.
Subscribe.me.fm.
So do you have questions about today's episode? Comments? Email me at Ravi, R-A-V as in Victor I, at subscribeme.fm. And let me know what you think. And if you're interested in signing up for digitalaccesspass.com or DAP, then when you join our Platinum membership, you get access to an unlimited site license of DAP. You get 2 hours of concierge calls with me and Veena Prashant, who is the other co-founder and co-developer of DAP. You get to talk with either one of us one-on-one for 2 hours, where we'll brainstorm with you about how you want to set up your membership site, what's the best way to set it up, and we'll also actually help you to set it up. And then you get all of our plugins that we offer at wickedcoolplugins.com, which includes plugins like S3MediaVault.com and Coolcast Player and the DAP shopping cart and a whole bunch of other plugins, everything for free when you sign up for our Platinum membership. So simply use the coupon code SUBSCRIBEME, one word, all capital letters, during checkout and get your first month for free, a $40 value, simply because you are a listener of this podcast. Until the next time, thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate you letting me into your personal space and for listening to my show. Be sure to come back next week for the next part in how to master MMA or money-making activities. Cheers and talk soon.
What a